Hello everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to the third video in this crash course, Mozilla and Chrome developer tools. So the major reason, which if I haven't stated earlier, I combined these two developer tools is because they are Mozilla and Chrome are, in my opinion, the best browsers out there, and they whole both offer tons of tools and features. So I thought, why not let us learn everything together? So today we're going to be doing something exciting, which is learning to write your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code right in your browser, so you can do a whole tons of things. And primarily for this course, I will be making use of Mozilla majorly, except if maybe we get to a part where a particular feature is not present in Google Chrome, is not present in Mozilla and present in Google Chrome. And okay, once we get to a section where okay, this particular tool and feature is not present in Google Chrome but in Mozilla, we also switch back to Mozilla Firefox. So let's get started. Okay, so we are back here in our browser, and presently I'm making use of Mozilla Firefox. And if you've used the browsers long enough, you would have been able to spot the differences. Okay, so we see that HTML document, it has okay the body, and the body has okay three main elements in it, three child elements, which is we have the div with the class of container, which contains the heading and the other stuff, and then we have the main section, the main tag, which is an HTML5 element and tag. Okay, and then we have the footer with the class of blog footer. So if I should, let's say, okay, what we want is okay, let's start with this. So I'm going to click on my inspect, so to pick. So I'm going to click on this, and we see okay, it's h1 with a class of display for font italic. Now the first thing I can do, I can do something like okay, okay, before even that, let me just double click on it. Okay, I can say okay, this is my custom editing. So now you see it automatically changes and updates that, and that's not just all. So I can edit these, right click, edit as HTML. So this is going to create a little space for me. So if I want to have the time, I can just drag these, okay, and then drag these up. So you say I have a mini text editor. So another thing I can do is okay, I can just add style equals okay. So what style should we add? Let's add background color, and I'm going to add, let's say, okay, so let's see what that gives me, and just click out, and you see it gives me this. So I've been able to actually add custom HTML and styling. So I can edit as HTML again, add a bit of padding. So and the padding should be 20 pixels, and then let's say border radius, and let's put it 30 pixels, and all you just have to do is click out. You see, now I've added HTML and style edited the HTML and styling without having to leave my website. Now one thing is we should know not is these changes are not permanent, at least not this way. So I'm going to teach us how to make things more permanent changes right from the browser. So maybe you're working on a website, and okay, you just quickly want to make your previewing or showing to your client, and you don't want to go through the hassle of, let's say, opening up the file, your text editor, and all of that. So you can just quickly use your browser to make the editing, and it stays there. So if I should refresh now, it gets the document back, and this we added here, it's going to leave. So another thing I can do right here from this tab is, okay, I can just come here. Okay, we have create new node. So create new node is going to create a new section, and you would use a div element. So right here, so a node basically means creating a new child, a new element inside of that particular element. So I can come here, duplicate node. So you see it's been duplicated. So right click on that again. Okay, so the one that we duplicated, this, okay, I want to delete it. So right here we attributes. So, and in this case I can make it style. So we've added the attributes. Let's see where useful. So I've opened up part of the examples in this bootstrap examples folder. I've opened up, we have a sign in template right here. So for example, now let's bring the button into view. So we have, okay, the button class equals this. Okay, another thing I might do is add an attribute such as attribute, let's say disabled. Okay, now you see that grays it out. Bootstrap comes with a disabled class out of the box, so especially using Bootstrap, it's much easier for me, or maybe any other CSS framework, maybe such as Tailwind, etc. They primarily make use of Bootstrap classes. So once you can just add a Bootstrap class, you can see, okay, how that looks like. Okay, you see. So if I should, let's say, attributes, remove attribute disabled, you see, now I can hover on it and click the particular button. So let's go back here. So for example, if I should click on select this fire hose, okay, I can decide to add a particular okay, let me just edit the attribute class. So you see it brought that. Okay, I can just add a there's a particular class type, I think display. So let's put display 2. So you see it's increased the size. So right here, okay, and I think we can also edit attributes and say, okay, text primary, and that gives it a bluish um color, so which is the primary color for Bootstrap. So I can right click on it and then attributes, copy attributes, and then let's say, okay, let me select this about here. So I can attributes, okay, let me just paste. Okay, let's just edit that, double click on it, and then we can just paste the attribute, and then you see that increased it. So I'm going to refresh to bring back the default web page. So now you can see how easy and interesting that actually is. But okay, let's say I actually want to see and format this old document and see how everything play with a whole lot of things, not just one element at a time. Okay, there's an easy way to do that. Just go to your HTML element and then right click, edit as HTML. So you can see it automatically converts it into an HTML. And one thing you can do is, okay, one thing you can do is you can make it, yeah, you see it's actually even highlight it, so you can make it bigger and, okay, edit a lot of things. So for example, okay, right here, this particular div nav scroller. Oh, so this nav scroller I can just copy and then just paste. Okay, so let's see how, let's click out and let's see how that is. So I'm going to drag this down a bit. Okay, so we see it has been duplicated. Now one thing I might have missed, change the position your can dock it to the right, left, and you can decide that okay, you don't want it to affect the width and height of your web page, because right now you see it's taking a bit of your web page, so it's giving it this amount um of browser width or window width available. So I can just undock it, so make it a separate window. So right here I can have everything looking the way it ought to be on desktop. Okay, and at the same time I have my tools right here, and then I can decide to okay, dock to bottom. So I prefer docking it to bottom instead of managing between two windows. Okay, so let's refresh. So we've seen a bit of editing and adding HTML on a web page. So let's check CSS out. So now once you come to CSS, now one thing, first thing before we get started into editing our CSS and customizing it, now you should note that each web browser has a predefined styling attached to individual um document, attached to individual um web pages elements. So for example, let me show you an example. Okay, let's come to underbody. So I'm just going to edit as HTML, and I'm going to, for now, let's remove everything that we have in our web page. So we see we don't have anything, so I can decide to edit as HTML. Now right inside my body tag I can decide to create an another list. So let's say UL, and then right in the middle, okay, oh um so we have milk, okay, we have milk. Okay, so let's copy that. So I can change this to honey, cookies, chocolates, and then okay, cake. Oh, and there's nothing better with a piece of chocolate and um cake, those are part of my favorites. Anyway, getting back to the matter, and we can see okay, we have our list here. So if I should come right here now, one, if I should click on the list now, right here you see I don't have any styling added to it per se, but um okay, except for bootstrap. But okay, let's take that of bootstrap, let's take it away. Now look at, we have what we have here, user agents. Now these user agent styles or UA styles or browser styles are the style in that each browser adds to each element. That's what makes it the way it is. Okay, so now if I should come, should have something similar also. Okay, so if I should come right here to my elements, so and okay, edit as HTML, you see we have, like I said, we have basically the same thing in All right, much time. I'm just going to select edit as HTML and okay, select everything, okay, delete and just add this here. Okay, so you see we have this. So if I should click on this, okay, you see user agent style sheets. Now the display block, so that's what it from automatically formats um block elements as block and inline element as inline. So we have this css or browser. Okay, if I should, let's come here and let's edit this. So make this a link and let's to okay, that's just going to be nothing, and then let's close the link and click out. Now if I should click, let's select this particular element. So now you see the user agent style sheet for your link is going to make the cursor pointer. So you see that is when you hover it, we should have this. So it's going to add some default styling. So let's go back to Mozilla. Okay, right here we have our Firefox open. So you can see this user agent styling. So that's the first thing I want to show you, that okay, you should note that there will be some default user agent styling added. So for each browser, if I should click on this, for example, okay, the link into that, so we see the link to, for example, Mozilla, that Mozilla uses, Firefox uses for default styling of every element. So but it's not beautiful, you shouldn't rely on it. You should even write codes to try to remove that and add your custom styling. So we can see, okay, let's not go there, let's leave that. So but that's the major thing I needed to show you. So let's refresh. Now use this as an example. So I'm going to select this particular element, which is this. Okay, so now we see that it has a column of md6. So that's bootstrap class for telling the browser you want to divide it into two equal parts, that is you want to take half rather. Okay, so if I should remove these, it won't have an effect really unless I actually okay, let's remove these 50%. Now you can see you can tick and untick to play with different values. So now you can see for the row, okay, the flex shrink 0. So this is basically a flex box. Now one other thing I love Mozilla with is, now if you have a flex, now you can click on this, toggle this highlighter. Now it automatically, if that element is a flex, it shows you everything about the element. So the flex box arrangement, so you can see, okay, so we have a flex box and it's two row. So any flex box, so you can toggle and highlight it right here. So it has been really helpful in my development and writing of codes. So okay, you can see these, the margin top, we have these. Okay, so one of the thing is, okay, for this particular okay, so we can see for this particular elements inside the column, okay, we have a shadow. Now if I should edit the bootstrap, bootstrap has three shadow classes. It has shadow dash sm for small shadow, it has shadow which is for the medium, normal, regular shadow you might want to add, and then it has shadow lg. So if I should change this to shadow and I click out, you will see that okay, the shadow is more right here, is more prominent, a bit more conspicuous. So if I should come right here, okay, I'm going to see box shadow right here. If I should take it, it takes it away, so that way you can play with different values. Okay, if I should edit this and change the shadow to lg, okay, click out. Now you can see that the shadow becomes bigger. more conspicuous. And if I should come right here to, okay, select it, so it's going to show the style automatically. Now I can actually edit different values here. So let's say, okay, I want it, okay, let's increase the vertically, okay, let's increase it to 5. So you see I've increased it vertically. So since the first value is for horizontal displacement of your shadow, and the second one for vertical. Okay, so you can also add, okay, let me refresh that, and now let me select these elements again. Okay, I want to select this now. I think that's exactly not, yeah, just this. Okay, so I can decide to add a um custom styling. Okay, what font styling should we add? Okay, let's say background color. So let me change it to Alice blue. So you see it changes that. So I can also change it. Okay, let's change it to, all right, you see you can edit and play with different things. Another thing is you should note, okay, we have a particular option here which is the color picker, so you can actually play around with various colors. So it's also present in Google Chrome developer tools. So you can play around. Okay, this is for transparency. So okay, bringing it closer to the light or making it deeper. So you can play around with different things like that. And then color, so let me put it to white. So we see that, oh, I don't love that combination. Okay, so let's bring it to something like this. Okay, this is a bit better, though I wouldn't recommend it unless it's a bit deeper and the contrast is better, but this is just for the purposes of illustration. Okay, so we can see that. So that's how you can actually edit. Now one thing is, now this is still adding, one thing you should notice, every element you had here is actually adding inline. So for example, if I should come to my to this particular option, we see it has this particular class. So what I can actually do is click on this. Now it will take me to the style sheet itself. So for example, okay, the style sheet, I can then see that particular rule. So okay, now let's come back to inspector. So let's try and select something else. I think, okay, let's try and select this. So I'm going to click on this. Okay, let's bring up back our tool. Okay, so let's actually select this guy here. So I've selected this particular container. Now if I should come here, so we see everything added is from right from utility CSS, which is from Bootstrap. So but for example, okay, we can actually edit that. So we can see, okay, the style sheet. Now if you come to your style editor, you can see every style sheet that is associated with the particular element. So what I can do is come to my blog.css, which is the actual CSS file that was add additional um rules. So I can decide to come here and, okay, body, select my body. So background color, so let's say I want it F5, F6, F7, which is kind of like a light gray. You can see that change added that immediately. So you can use this to actually write multiple lines of CSS and not just inline. So because whatever you add from here is actually going to be inline, and here you can see right here it's there, the indication that this is inline. So come back to your style editor. So I can instead make it, let's say, black. So you see, and then the color, and then okay, so we can see it's kind of like adding a dark mode to her websites. So though I wouldn't recommend that, and I wouldn't recommend using complete black. Instead, use something like a gray, something grayish. So for example, if I should come to, okay, let's refresh that. So if I should come to I can decide to double click on these and oh, then class, so bg dark. So let's click out. Okay, so let's try that with this. So click on it. So b, so do you notice that it's automatically gives, you can use a color like this, which is 212529. Okay, so and then another thing I can do is text light. So you see, using bootstrap and playing around with this, we've kind of created our dark mode, you see. So it is really as simple as that. So to make things better, I can use bootstrap to add, okay, let me add a bit of padding, so use p5. Okay, so you see that works fine, it works good, it works great. So now let's actually move a bit to JavaScript, but before I go to that, okay, I want to recall that, okay, you can edit your HTML right here, and you can add CSS, test different CSS rules right here. So, and also another thing is, once you click on um a particular um CSS rule rather, yeah, so you can click on the file it came from, and it's going to show you, you see it's highlighting that, and if it were live it will also show you, okay, where the file was from, and then you can click on it, okay, and edit it, play around with things. Okay, another thing, lest I forget, okay, this basically shows you your layout. So okay, if it's a flex box, it's going to show you if it's a grid, and this is your box model, and you know your box model contains of the padding, the element, the content itself, the element itself, then the border, the padding, and then the margin. So this is your contents. So if you want to see the padding around, okay, this particular thing, what, how many padding, how much padding does it have, so and right there it's showing you, okay, the padding top and padding bottom, it's 48. So right here, okay, we have the border is 0, and then we have, okay, the margin top 0. So let's make things, okay, interesting. So let's add a border, so 2 pixels solid. So you see it's showed here, okay, we have 2 pixels and solid. So let's make the border something like, okay, 200 pixels. Okay, let's just make it 20. So if I show over on this, you see it's going to show you, okay, this is the border, and this right here is the padding, and this right here is the margin. So we don't have margin actually. So if I should add a margin, so for bootstrap we can add margin, so let's put M5. So you see it has added margin, so it's going to show right there. So let's refresh and reset everything back to its default. So right here we have computed, so it's going to show, okay, these are the styles, and if you want to see the browser styles, all you just have to do is tick this. So it's going to show you the browser style, which are the user agent styles that we mentioned. So that is all of these user agent styles here, so that is associated or related with this particular web page. So I'm just going to toggle that off, and if you want to find a particular style, so you can just click on this. So for this element I want to see, okay, if it has shadow, so it doesn't have shadow. Okay, let's see if it has padding. So you can see it has padding associated to with it. Okay, another thing is okay, before I continue, we also have states. So let's say I select this particular button. Now we know that okay, when we have button, we can select okay, we have over, that is when we are hovering on it, and then it might have active when focus and active etc. So for when it's clicked and focused on. So now for over, we can see right there, it's actually even brought it out. So when we over on it, it's not showing that again. So but to make things easier, you can actually come here and click on your different states. Okay, for over, you want to see how an element looks while it's overed. So this is it. Okay, what about active? So when it's active, it also has this background. And what about focus? So whenever you focus on it, it gives this box shadow. So you can see right here box shadow. And when you, so okay, toggle that and then toggle. Okay, so that's that for focus. Okay, they focus, I think. So that's for that. So okay, if remove these, okay, for focus, we can see it's back adding it. So if I want to see how it actually looks focused, so for example, okay, so let's come back and then focus. Okay, so I can add this back. Okay, all good and well. So you can see different um states. So another thing is you can also decide to add a new class. So I can decide to add a new class to this, which is let's say new buttons. So you can add a class of new buttons. You see it's added it right here. So okay, we have that. So what else? Okay, right here we can add a new rule. So you can decide that okay, for this particular CSS class, okay, add a new rule for that. Or I can decide okay, remember I added new buttons. So I can decide that okay, for oh, that will be dots. Remember we are using classes. So I can decide that okay, for all new buttons I want the width to be 200 pixels. So you see, so if I should come over here also, okay, let's select this. So we have these and then we should have this. Okay, if I should decide to add a new class for these, okay, let me just double click on that. That makes things easier. New buttons. You see it also adds that particular CSS rule I've added. So you see you can play with a whole lot of things. Okay, we have right here changes. So if you've made any changes so to any elements, once you click on it, it's going to show you okay, this is what you've removed and this is what you've added, and this is the way it highlights. It is similar if you've ever used GitHub. Okay, whenever you make any changes to your repository, you can see something like this. So you can see compatibility. So it's going to show you any issues, any compatibility issues, but we're still going to go into this later on. And then here you can actually edit the this font. So increase the fonts, reduce it, increase the line height, so the spacing. So you can see a whole lot of things editing your, and you see right here it's reflecting. So if I should reduce the line height, you see it's changing. Another thing neat trick is for any value, numerical value for example, you can press the up arrow and it begins to increase that. And also if I should click on the font for example, so if I should click up arrow, it increases while the down arrow decreases. So let's refresh that. So that's basic lay everything that's okay. And then we have the animation, so you can use it to actually check the animation. So that's everything on HTML and CSS. Now let's go around and play with a bit of um JavaScript. So now we have JavaScript. So while this is not purely on JavaScript, let's just run a little what's it called on JavaScript. So for example, I can decide to select this. Okay, so we have call MD6. So I can come here, okay, document dot query selector. Okay, so we can use call MD6. Okay, so now it returns elements with call of, okay, let's see. So this should have a class of, okay, yeah. Now one thing you should note, I made a bit of a mistake, so I'm going to correct everything after this. So one thing you should note is, just like if you've ever used your terminal or your command prompt, if you're using Windows, whenever you type in a command, you can just click on up to actually reference to what you've actually the command you just typed. So the command I just typed, you see what I did earlier, which was this. So once I click on up, it keeps going back and getting me in console. You see everything I've typed. These are some of the in the console. So for example, is, okay, all of this code, so to keep track of things, so that should not. So okay, what I wanted to actually was query selector all, so it should, oh sorry, let's clear that and let's refresh. So document, I want to select every call MD6. So document dot query selector all. So I'm going to use my dots and put it there, and then okay, so it returns a node list, and when we have this. So one thing you should note is, okay, while, okay, let's say for this particular command I want to, okay, run it simultaneously, and you see even without me pressing enter, it has given me a preview of what the answer is going to be. So let's say I want to, run multiple line. So it's, okay, let me assign this to a variable. So now this is, once I click on enter, it's going to automatically execute. What I can do is click on shift and enter. Shift and enter will take it to the new line without executing it. Also works in Google Chrome, so that's an option since it does not have a multi-line JavaScript console editor. So now what I can do is do something as neat and as simple as, okay, okay, let's say, okay, let's just try a bit of code. My var dot for each. So let's create, okay, then for each, what do we want it to happen? Okay, okay, for each, what exactly do you want? Okay, single var. So what we're going to do is single var dot add event listener. I get that right? Okay, then the add event listener, then we click, and then what is, okay, and what is the function we want to run exactly. So don't forget using your shift and enter, alert hello world. Okay, or let's just put you clicked me. So, and once I click on enter, it runs. Now the reason it gives undefined is because it doesn't have a return value, so don't worry about that. So let's say I click on this. Oh, it works, you clicked me. So click on this, you clicked me, and then which other okay, we have three elements, so there should be three. Okay, we have the third one right here. If I should click on this, you clicked me, so you see it works fine. And another thing I could just do is, okay, I can clear this, click up my up arrow, and then I can just cut that, and then instead of just having to press shift, okay, and then down here I can just put a console dot log. Okay, and then just click on run. Okay, now one thing you should note is at this present moment, it's one thing why using let to declare your variable means that you cannot redeclare it again. So that's one of the things I love about the using the let keyword for creating of variables. So one thing you should note is it has already termed it as, okay, while I did that earlier in the console, that okay, this has been created in the memory of the browser. So if I want to clear that off, what I actually do is refresh it. So since it has refreshed, it's now moved, okay, any previous knowledge that okay, this particular variable my var has been created initially. So if I click on run, it won't give an issue. So for example, if I should even clear the console and I clear these, okay, clear everything here. Okay, so I've cleared that, and even if I should come here again and I should paste this and I should run now, also it's going to, okay, show that yeah, as the boost still exists in my memory. So that's basically what now we've seen bit now, which is where we're actually going to pause and go into more awesome things in the next one. Is let's go to Chrome. Now right here in Chrome, now remember I told us we have something called sources. Now the major thing you need to know that, okay, most important things right here is, now you can see, okay, you have your file here. Okay, we have assets, we have blog index.html. Now I'm not really able to edit and make my edits and changes. What I can do is I can right click. Okay, let's see. So okay, let's see. Okay, let's come to first system, and okay, we can decide to add folder to workspace. So I'm going to have the a pop up, and then I can go to um the directory where this file is actually located at. So I'll skip along just to quickly search for the folder and open it up. Okay, so we have it right here. So we can see different bootstrap examples that we've been given. So what I'm going to do is use this select folder. Okay, so we should have it added here. Okay, let's see that again. Okay, right here it has been added. So what I can do now is oh yeah, we've not allowed. I've been looking, I should have gotten some um things here. So it's telling you, okay, it's requesting full access to this. So this is just a precaution so that not to allow any want to be able to manipulate things through on your system through your browser. So I'm going to click on allow, and you can see right there we have index.html. So if I should click on it, so you see now it's editable. What I can actually do this now, let me just give you an example. So right here at the top, right, okay, so I can have div, okay, div. Now right here I'm going to just put in, let's say, h3, oh sorry, I've forgotten I'm not in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so let's close the tag h3. Okay, this is a test. Now class equals to display one text primary. Okay, and then I'm going to add padding of 5 m. Okay, and here this text primary because of what I'm going to add. So we put text light space, and then right here class of container fluid, and I'm going to put p5 for padding and bg dark. So if I should click on Ctrl S, now it has saved. Now let's see what that actually has done. Okay, so for example, let's open back Mozilla, and if I should refresh, okay, you see right here we have it. This is a test. So you see this change has actually been made permanent. So this is not just something where if I refresh it leaves. I've actually made editing right in my browser without opening up my text editor. So I've actually made my changes, and my changes is now permanent. So if I should refresh this also, oh, you see we can see it right here. So I can also add different files. So I can decide to come here, so I can right click on these. Okay, new file. So right there I can add maybe style.css, and okay, what I'm going to put is style the link. So all of the links that we have, let's say color. Okay, let's use brown. So I'm going to save that. Control S saves it. Okay, so I'm going to link that to the HTML. So okay, not to waste time, I'm going to do this. I'll paste this here, and instead of main.css I'm going to put style.css. Style.css, since they are both in the same directory, you should see that. So now let's refresh and let's see what that gives us. So I'm going to scroll down to our links. You see our links, the color has now been brown. The color has been brown. So you see, compared to what we have before. So I can come here to style.css. So when we have the overstate, so let's say we have something such as okay color, and then we have okay instead black. Okay, you see this star up here means that it's not yet saved. Okay, and then once I refresh, so whenever we hover on it, it's black. Now if I should come to my Firefox, Mozilla Firefox, now right here it's not showing the changes because I've not refreshed, and the browser is still working with the files that it's had before. So if I should click on refresh, you see the changes shows up, and overing should okay black color. So this shows that it works. So this is the overview of okay writing your HTML, CSS and JavaScript right in your console, right in your developer tools. So you see there are tons of features, tons of things to help you that these browsers have given you as a developer to empower you. So and same here, so you can see especially making use of Chrome, you can create actually add a file, and then add a folder workspace, and make all of your editing. And best part, it's work just as most editors, most code editor. It gives you um highlights, suggestions, etc, some abbreviations sometimes. So if I should give my, you see right here, it's giving me suggestions already. Box. Okay, so let's say border top, border bottoms makes life easier for you as a developer. You can actually have multi line JavaScript run right here. So very useful. So, and if you enjoy, don't forget to like, share, tell your friends about it. It's actually amazing. You are the major reason why, okay, I've been doing this to make sure that, okay, you become a better developer, and I also being able to, I'm able to help you wherever possible. And if you come right here to our channel, right here you're going to see a link, so to our Facebook group, the websites, the Facebook group, the Facebook page, the Facebook group, and also Twitter. So if you enjoy this video, don't forget to like. At the moment we are on 28 subscribers, but we are hoping you actually help us grow. So thank you very much, and don't forget to check out the other videos. Probably by the time you're watching this, there are already about hundreds or thousands of videos and courses, free ones we've uploaded right for you on the channel. So thank you very much. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.